All right, folks, this is the Chief John Lane of the East Liverpool Police Department. As I said over the last couple of days, this video blog, very important to me, because I want to take some time to give some respect to this police department who's made a lot of national news of late. And some of it may be considered not good news, but there was a reason for it, especially the one that we're going to start off with. And it was just the beginning of this catalyst that has turned things around in this community in an amazing way. And they have truly risen from the ashes, and there is all sorts of great development. People investing money downtown. Why? Because some of the issues that this river community has faced, many of us understand because we too are dealing with the same issues. And I've said many times, it's all about law enforcement, that first and last line of defense. So much so that coming up Friday on my program on News Radio 1020 KDKA, former U.S. Attorney of Western Pennsylvania, the former Governor of Pennsylvania and former Attorney General Tom Corbett will join me. We're going to talk all about law enforcement and especially the state police of Pennsylvania and why he is such a big fan of them, and because of what he did as governor, they continue to thrive today. But right now it's up close and personal, and it's East Liverpool. Chief, thank you so much for doing this for me. And I want to talk about the picture that went viral, obviously, with the people in the van that were dealing with an overdose, okay? And a lot of folks are wondering why, but I think when you simply said enough is enough, I think that speaks volumes on why you did that. Do you have any regrets that you did that, or are you still happy that you did it?
No, it turned out to be the right decision. You got that little boy out of that situation. He's in a much better place now. He's safe. He's in a loving environment where he's the priority.
One of the things that really frightened me was how many times I have seen in the news story after story about drug issues in communities everywhere, but because I spent so much time here, it just kept coming up day after day, week after week, month after month, and really no different than any other community, but because of my love for East Liverpool, it kind of hurt. But then I started to notice Mayor Ryan Stovall and yourself and your amazing police department. We're going to meet one of your officers in a little bit, Moose Ramsey, Sean Long being another. I watched these guys grow up as teenagers, and now they're men taking it upon themselves to protect the city that they love too. So it was rough for a while, but he's starting to see some daylight now at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely, before we had no place to send people that were looking for help. We had family care ministries opened up right across the street from us, and now we can direct people who are looking for help to the right place, and somebody that can give them the guidance that they need. It's Don Lytle and Josh Lytle that are working there. They've been going into the jails. They've been doing it for years, trying to get people that have trouble with addictions and give them a ray of hope in the direction they need to go.
Listen, just an opinion. I think a lot of what we're dealing with now has to do with the lack of employment. The economy has struggled. This Shell petrochemical plant, which I'm a big fan of and proponent, there'll be thousands of jobs, construction jobs that will be there for years, and then hundreds of jobs because of what they're going to be doing and the necessary, need for people to be there to handle, extracting this Utica shale, the wet and dry gas, and all of the things that will come with it, plastic plants, perfume plants, and how other plants hopefully will pop up around it where more people will get jobs. Do you think life-sustaining jobs are a key for people to stay on the straight and narrow, and the more of those middle-class jobs that we get, do you think that would help this problem?
Oh, definitely. You got so many families where they don't have the resources to live. A lot of people, if good people are leaving the area, this would keep people home. People that care about their community, that want to do what's right.
Well, listen, you're a East Liverpool person now, and obviously dating a woman from Wellsville. You found your calling to come here. You're from Mingo Junction, where I spent many Tuesdays and Fridays calling basketball games, and I know that Steel community as well. And like all of these communities have been rocked with economic distress. But I see some good things happening right now. And the mayor, Ryan Stovall, a police officer in his own right, his brother, first responders, they get it as far as what it takes. You see the Newcastle School of Trades, the streets being repaved. You got new construction in downtown for the first time in decades that is going to be housing. You got Jimmy Joe Savage shooting this in his great Legacy Studios, which has become a big footprint. My friend Frank Dawson, I could go on and on and on. But finally, it seems as though we're turning the bend. And just as the streets are paved, it seems as though that rocky road is starting to smooth out a little bit. You have that gut feeling too? And if so, why do you think you finally were able to not just see this happen, but you seem to be really getting a handle on this crime element and the criminal element in and around this area? Just talk about that journey, if you will.
Well, the city has definitely turned a corner. There's no doubt about it. I think it's been, it started with Mayor Swager. I think he got the ball rolling in the right direction. I think Ryan Stovall is definitely keeping it going. He's got the momentum to go, and he seems to be, him and Brian Alan both have been working, getting grants, trying to do whatever they can to make the city better. I know they're trying to shut down some of the houses that are the problem, where they're dilapidated, nobody there, and you're having trouble with the drugs getting in there. I think that starts with boarding some of them up. I think you start cleaning a neighborhood one neighborhood at a time, and you work your way through the city. I think you have definitely positives coming into the community. There's things that we keep waiting on that are possibilities they haven't announced yet. But if either one of those things would come in, those are just big boosts for the city.
For my friends in law enforcement, and I have many of them, one of the things that we talk about are these transient drug dealers, where they move into a community and they're nowhere near to be found as far as any community activity. They just show up in the town from hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away, and they set up shop, they do their damage, pillage, and then they move out of town. How hard is it to see who is moving into your town, and also knowing when this stuff is taking place to hopefully stop it before someone either overdoses or some other horrible crime develops because of it? How hard is that?
That's very difficult. You get people that you've never seen before. I think the state needs to increase the penalties for someone who comes in from Cleveland who's caught carrying or selling this kind of fentanyl, heroin, whatever, in a community he has nothing to do with. I think there needs to be an increased penalty. We got them from Youngstown, Cleveland, New Jersey, Chicago. We had Columbus. We got several groups from Columbus, and obviously Youngstown. People like that come in, they don't care at all about what they're doing and how they're destroying communities. It's just simply about making money.
Last thing, once again, you're making national news, and I'm at work thinking, my goodness, how many more of these stories do I have to take? Because it really is painful to see this stuff happen. But you had one of your men in uniform doing their job, Lisbon Street, West 8th Street, Chris Green, he responds to a traffic stop. Next thing you know, tussle takes place just trying to do his job, and he ends up getting fentanyl on him, and he ends up overdosing. I mean, you had to be like scratching your head saying, now what? What's next? But again, something good has come out of that. Talk about that situation.
Well, it's scary as far as how easy it is to get overcome by fentanyl. I think it's part of the reason why the punishment for having that, possessing it, or selling it needs to be more. I think it's definitely brought awareness to other first responders as the danger this stuff is. Just touching it, just a slight amount, and it's soaking into your skin, can be enough to kill you. I've had numerous police departments call me and ask for what kind of policies we've implemented to try to keep that from happening. Definitely the awareness is a big plus for everyone.
Your thoughts, crime and punishment, and we'll finish up on that note and talk a little football with Moose Ramsey and Wellsville and kind of lighten things up a little bit. Just crime and punishment. What do you think? Prisons are overcrowded. Obviously, they're trying alternative chemicals to get people off of heroin. They're trying halfway houses, they're trying rehabilitation, but it just continues to escalate. What do you think?
Well, I think, when you had President Obama, he get in there saying that he was letting all the drug dealers out that were saying it was nonviolent. I think that's ridiculous. All the violence is coming from drugs. Whether that guy's committing the violence or he's having other people commit it, or they're just committing because they're trying to find more of it.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. I think the people that are selling it need to get more time. It needs to be set to where it's difficult to get out, especially like fentanyl, car fentanyl. People are dying just touching it. So why shouldn't it be held to a higher standard as far as punishment goes? It's just that you can't do enough when you got people carrying that. Lord, if just inhaling it can kill you, just getting it on your skin. I mean, it should be careful that terrorists don't get a hold of that. Think of what they could do, what kind of damage can be done with something. You can just order it from China and have it delivered to your house. It's that simple. They need to increase the penalties for definitely possessing it and then certainly selling it.
I take it that Mr. Trump got your vote?
Oh, there's no question.
Okay.
No question about that.
Listen, thank you very much. Me and the president, we always seem to end up in the same conversation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you on this with my last take. I have spent many years in my life traveling all up and down this place that we call the Tri-State because of my business, and many of those nights under the Friday night lights calling high school football. And this place was a bedrock community, and it was kind of like Mayberry for me for many years, going back decades. And like I did in my own hometown and others, I just saw every day, one day at a time, more of that building block, that foundation crumbling. Why? Because of drugs. And I know that many of you who are watching this right now, you can identify with what I'm saying because you've seen it up close. Maybe yourself, God forbid, hopefully you've gotten help, or a family member or a friend. It destroys lives. It sucks everything out of the life of a human being to where in many cases there's nothing left. and they also stop breathing many times. And you know, you keep hearing about Narcan and what these officers are doing and how they're out there every day, and you keep hearing about crime and what they're doing as far as, well, trying to solve murders that are taking place. Many of these murders being committed by people that are not even from the area and have nothing to lose. It's just those zombies, those faces. They don't know these people. They don't know their families, who they are, their roots, their history, their heritage. All they are worried about is the almighty dollar. All I'm asking you to take away from this conversation with Chief John Lane and men like him and women like him that are out there every day, grassroots, cities, municipalities, towns, fighting crime, to treat those officers with the respect they deserve. Why? Because they're protecting your family as much as they are my family. All right, folks, Casa de Emmanuel, we're going to take a deep breath and relax a little bit and talk football, because the Moose is here, and he, of course, is the head coach of the Wellsville Tigers. That's next at Casa de Emmanuel. Good evening.